Oh, so I can end stream. Therefore, that means I am live. I'm officially back on YouTube because I'm in Facebook jail. Sorry, but that's the only time I really come over here when I'm hard up. So this is your Loonie Liberal Power Hour YouTube edition with your host, Lance Richards. And I just wanted to throw out there that it was yet another really absurd reason why I'm in Facebook jail. I mean, them deplorables want to talk about a conspiracy against them. Well, all I'm doing is having a verbal battle with a bunch of deplorables. I'm just dishing out what I take, you see. And some of my verbiage must hit a little snag and they trip a wire and I get fucked by the filter on Facebook. And you broken community standards for bullying. Yeah, I'm bullying a bunch of bullies. That's what I'm doing. Because that's what they got coming to them. And I'll continue to do it. And I'm going to have to stop because I got a lot of stuff on that page. So I don't want it to get kicked completely off of Facebook. So I got to try and be good. I can't be too habitual of an offender. I got to start to dial back my dialogue a little bit. And I've been working on that. It's tough for me because from the very beginning of this crusade, my Facebook crusade, because I'm a keyboard warrior for Jesus in America. And back when Trump first announced, I started. And it started, I'll tell you when it started, what I noticed that I really took issue with, and I started, commenting on and engaging during this crusade was the Confederate flag. One of the very first things that they dusted off and brought up from the ashes was the Confederate flag. Now, of course, we always had it. It was Dukes of Hazzard, Rebel, and all that cool stuff. Yeah, it's cool to be a rebel. The Dukes of Hazzards were cool. But the Confederate flag is not cool. The Confederate flag was never cool. It's not worthy of being honored. It's really not worthy of being flown in America because it is a defeated enemy of America. That's fact. You want to talk about facts. You want to say we have all these facts and liberals can't understand facts. Well, first fact, the Confederate flag is a defeated enemy of America. It is not worthy of praise or honor, and for very good reason. History will tell you that no matter what you want to say and no matter how you want to cloud the issue, that flag represents slavery. It represents a fight for slavery. The people who flew that flag into battle were fighting to keep other people their slaves. They wanted to feel superior. That is a flag of superiority. The Confederate flag is unworthy of praise. It's unworthy of being honored. It is not our heritage, especially not anybody who lives in the North. Maybe them guys down south might want to claim that shit, but if I was them, I wouldn't want to claim it because it's a load of horse shit. It's a defeated enemy of the country you claim to love. And when I say defeated enemy, it waged war and killed Americans for the purpose of keeping people slaves. States' rights. The states' rights to have slaves, to discriminate against people, to take away their autonomy, to take away their civil and individual rights. They wanted to be able to say in America that everyone's not equal. But it says in our Constitution that everyone is equal. You see, that's a fact. We keep talking about, that's another thing I want to talk to on my purge, my YouTube purge, after being thrown in the pen unceremoniously yet again for bullying bullies. And if they throw me in jail for that, that's fine. You can call me a bully of bullies. I'll gladly accept that role and that title. But if you just call me a bully, no, I'm not. I'm not just a bully. I only bully bullies, and I will gladly take my. I'll take my penance for it. Throw me in the pen. That's fine. But I'm just defending this country from a bunch of right-wing conservative nationalist Christian bullies that want to shove their shit down everyone else's throat and then play victims when somebody gives them back some of their own medicine. That's what I've been doing for 4 years on Facebook in my neck of the woods. I have truly become somewhat infamous in my neck of the woods because I just tell people how it is. And the first thing I started telling people about was the Confederate flag. And I'm from Ohio. I live in the North. All these people that want to talk about the Confederate flag being their heritage grew up in the North, in the Union. The Confederate flag is not part of our heritage in the North. And it's damn sure not a part of American heritage. It is a defeated enemy of America, just like the Nazis. You think it's cool to fly a Nazi flag around America and be proud of it? Of course they do. The deplorables did it. They actually did it. They were chanting Trump's name as they were waving Nazi flags. In America, folks. They were storming our capitals, waving Confederate flags. What does that tell you? What facts can you find from that action? I'll tell you a lot of facts I can find from that action. First off, if you're flying that Confederate flag, you're not an American. You're a traitor. Because that's what the Confederacy was. A traitor to this nation who waged war for an unrighteous reason and got their dicks knocked into dirt. That's what the Confederacy is and was. Fact. So if you go flying them fucking flags in there, what's that supposed to tell me? That's supposed to tell me that you want to bring the South back again, huh? You ready for the South to come back again? You think it's okay to be proud to enslave people? Obviously you do. That's a fact. Because if you didn't, you would not ever fly that flag in America. And if you did, in the privacy of your own home, right in your own yard, okay. But you damn sure wouldn't be fucking charging and marching into the Capitol with it and tearing shit up and acting a fucking fool. That you wouldn't be doing if you loved this country. And especially as you're trying to overthrow and protest a very righteous election that you want to pretend like it was fake and fraud and you got suckered and cheated, which you didn't. It was fair. It was honest for the most part. Nobody cheated you out of the presidency. There was just more people that knew he was a piece of shit and you're ignorant. And you're somewhat cultish at this point. If you still like Trump, you still think Trump is going to be put back into office in August, if you still think this stupid shit, you're in a cult. You might as well go join Charlie and Jim Jones and David Koresh and be ready to burn in the house. Because that's what you're doing. You're bringing back stuff that already has been defeated and will be defeated again. There's no denying that racism is a bad thing. There's no denying that in America, thinking that you're superior to someone else for any reason is not okay. You want to claim to love the Constitution in this country, but yet you still think it's okay to fly that flag. You still think it's okay to discriminate against black people and gay people and Muslim people and immigrants. It's okay to treat people poorly because you're a white Christian conservative nationalist American. Huh? Everybody needs to be like you in this country, or they can't be in this country, or they just really don't matter. See, that's not how it works, folks. That's how the deplorables want it to work. That's how they want this country to be. That's the vision of America that they see. They see a vision of America where everybody's white and conservative and Christian and nationalist and just bows to the flag, barefoot and pregnant. Women are barefoot and pregnant and just kowtow to the men. That's the world they want. That's why they love that Confederate flag so much, because back then, when that flag mattered, those things were all facts. They're not facts anymore. They've never been facts. You're not better than anyone else because you're white or conservative or nationalist or Christian. You're not better than anyone else because you're male. You're not better than anyone else because you're heterosexual. These things don't matter when it comes to grading people. Okay? That's just your subjective personal opinions. You want to believe that stupid shit, you go right ahead. But you can't impose that stupid shit on everyone else. See, that's why America's so great. You can't just tell everybody else what to do, because that makes you feel happy and safe and secure. And see, that, my friends, is exactly what Trump catered to in people. He knew that there were a bunch of people in this country that absolutely need everybody to be Christian and everybody to bow to the flag and everybody to be how they are, to feel safe and secure. Some people were so ignorant that they need everybody else to be white. How absurd is that? Is they can't feel safe and secure unless everybody else is white. And then they'll find reasons to hate some white people too. Because it's just in their nature. Nature and nurture. They were probably raised with this. They were born into this, and they were probably raised with these ignorant notions instilled inside them since they were little tiny tykes. And it's so embedded in them that they don't know nothing else. They can't comprehend anything else. The truth is that they're afraid to think about anything else but what has been constantly pounded into their heads since they were a little tiny grasshopper, you see. Now that's hard to overcome as an intellectual, as someone who is a Facebook warrior for Jesus. That's hard to chip away at, you see. It's hard to put a chip in that armor, because conservative armor is pretty tough, man. A lot of conservative minded people, just by nature, will clamp that shit shut. They want to protect that shit that's in their head. That's what they're all about. They're all about protecting themselves from the big bad world. They're protecting themselves from women in power and black people in power. It's something that they feel deep inside that they can't help a lot of times. And it just is what it is. We have fostered that. I mean, white people have cultivated that in this country for generations and generations. The notion that white people are superior in some way. The notion that conservative wisdom is more important than being liberal-minded. The notion that women are inferior to men. These notions that have been instilled in people and they believe are what it's coming back to eat us up again. The last time it happened is when they were waving that Confederate flag and waging war with it. And now it's happening again in subtle, surreal ways. And it's tough for a conservative person to get their mind wrapped around this. That's the biggest problem, I think, that we have, is because it's very, very hard for a conservative-minded person to open their mind, to really try to see the big picture, to really try to walk a mile in someone else's shoes. These are hard things for a conservative-minded person to do, because conservative and liberal isn't, they want to use it as bad words and as a label, but it's a way of thought. It's the way you think. It's the way you carry yourself intellectually and through your experience and through life. By definition and by nature, conservative-minded people, whether they were born that way or taught to be that way, they tend to be more closed-minded. They tend to latch on to tradition. They tend to do things that are safe. They don't like to think outside the box. They don't like to open their mind to new perspectives. They have what they believe, and this is what is true. And they don't like to stray from that very much. And that's okay. I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying that when you try to impose that stuff on everyone else, it doesn't fly in this country. If you say that you love this country and the Constitution, you can't impose yourself on other people. You can be whatever you want to be. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but you can't make everyone else cling to your conservative notions and traditions. You can't hold society back with your fear. And that's what conservatives do over and over and over again. It's about how they're thinking. It's about how they latch on to certain things and they don't want to think about nothing else because it scares them. And then there are people who are liberal-minded. Now, don't get me wrong. There are conservatives that have times of liberal thought. I mean, we're not all purely anything. If you're that extremely conservative, then it's a problem. That's when it starts to become a problem, is when we take these being conservative and being liberal to the extremes. And who has done that is the conservatives. Historically, all throughout history, conservative-minded people tend to try and hold society back. And in the process, there's some squabbles and there's fights. That's what the Civil War was. That's what revolution was. That's what probably about all the wars in the history of man have to come down to, essentially conservative versus liberal minds. People that want to hold everyone else back and people who want to evolve and adapt and change with the absolute change that happens. You can tie this to just about any bad situation throughout history, particularly in America. Like I said, it started off with the conservative notion that kings and queens should rule us. That was a conservative notion. That's tradition. That's how it was always done. So it was conservative. And there was liberal-minded people in America that said, fuck you. Fuck the king. We're doing our own shit over here now. And that's just the way it is. Now, of course, we had a battle about that. We fought over these conservative and liberal notions. And the liberal notion won. Then you go on to the Civil War, where we still weren't treating everybody equal. We still had slaves in this country. And that was a conservative notion. That was tradition. That's how we did it. That's how we built America, to be quite honest and frank. Through slave labor. The economy in the South is what helped build America. Cotton, all these things, textiles. This was slave labor helped us grow strong. in our beginning. It was a strong tradition. It was conservative minded because it wasn't true. You can't have people in America that are unequal, because we do hereby establish that all men are created equal, and also women later on. See, these are the battles that we're having between conservative notions and liberal minds that adapt and change and find new truth. Because we don't know everything. We're probably never going to know everything. We're always going to continue learning. Change is absolute. Evolution is we are evolution's bitch. And there's nothing really we can do about it except for try to stay ahead, try to adapt, try to change, get ahead of the change. That's what makes us the superior beings. Human beings are superior on this earth as far as we know, because our brain works in liberal ways. Starting to understand a little bit better? You starting to get your conservative mind wrapped around what I'm trying to tell you? Is that what makes us as human beings superior is our ability to critically think, to get ahead of problems, to keep our mind open and find new solutions and new truths that are happening every day. That's what makes us the top of the food chain at this point. That and these thumbs is our critical thought, our liberal mind. And America has tended over the last couple generations to be pretty good at that. America is in the Hall of Fame of liberal notions. The notion of America is in the liberal notion Hall of Fame. Like probably one of the first entries, actually. Besides maybe the wheel. It's up there with the wheel and sliced bread. You know, liberal notions. Hey, why don't we do this? How about this? Let's try out this. Let's think outside the box. Let's open our minds and try to see things from different perspectives instead of just my perspective. And that's the basic difference between conservative and liberals, by definition. And it's not good, it's not bad unless you make it good or bad. And how you make it bad is by taking it to the extreme, by trying to make everyone else live up to your conservative notions. That's not how the world can work. That's definitely not how America works. We get better. We endeavor for perfection. That's what we do in America. We try to get better. It's in the Constitution and shit. The Constitution that you deplorables always scream how much you love. I'm about the Constitution. I love America and beer and Old Glory and that's that. Well, if you love the Constitution, then you got to love the notion that everybody's equal, bitch. Everybody. Also, you ain't got to love God. You ain't got to love that flag. Now, here's the thing. I do stand for the flag every time. I do love Jesus. But that doesn't mean that everybody else has to. Okay? That's why we're America. See, we are special. We transcend humanity in a lot of ways. Very few things transcend humanity. But America gets there because America endeavors to make the world better for humanity by its very essence, by the very words that are in our Constitution that we hold so near and dear to our hearts. Those words are the ideals that we try to live up to make this world better for America. And what are those ideals? Let's keep reinforcing these motherfuckers because obviously you don't get it. First, all people are created equal. All people. Okay, sure, back then they said all men are created equal, but that was just, vocabulary problems. They really meant everybody's equal. Along the lines, we learned that black people were equal too, and women were equal too. Everybody's equal. We're all human beings. You see? Everybody. Don't try to fuck with those words, okay? Please don't try to fuck with those. Because that is a righteous ideal. All people are created equal and endowed with the God-given rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed with the God-given rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Like I said, men turn to everyone. We figured it out. We used our liberal minds to figure out, hey man, it's not right to keep black people slaves. It's not right that women can't vote. We need to get better at this shit. We need to get better to doing our very best for every fucking single human being on the face of this planet. We need to be fair and honest and just and kind to everyone as much as we can. We need to go out of our way until it hurts to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to thrive. Yes, that's our endeavor. And I don't mind if you don't want to fight hard for that endeavor, but you're damn sure not going to hold us back from doing that. That's when you start doing bad shit, deplorables, and that's what you've been doing for the last 4 years, 5 years. Since Obama got president, I could go 16 if I really wanted to. 20 years. The last 20 years, you've been trying to pull us back, pull us back, pull us back. And you start with black people. You was mad about that guy in the White House, huh? And you start with women. You start taking their fucking things back too. You pull them women back. We got to get them back here barefoot and pregnant for us. That's what these fuckers do. And I know that you can't see that big picture, but my liberal mind does. I can see the truth because I honestly seek out the truth by definition. Or at least I try to. Sure, I still have my bias and prejudice. I'm not saying that I'm perfect because I am by no means perfect. I don't know everything. In fact, the more I learn, the more I find out that I don't know. See, that's how the acquisition of knowledge happens. That's why the wisest man is going to tell you he don't know shit. Because the more you learn, the more questions you find. The more you think you know, the more you forgot you knew. And that's how knowledge works. It's like having a big old junkyard and forgetting some of the shit you have out in it. But then you can always go find it. And it's a big clutter. And sometimes I can understand why conservative people are kind of afraid to do it. Because sometimes knowing shit hurts. Sometimes knowing shit is scary. but you got to do it. I mean, that's part of your duty as an American. I mean, you want to talk about how great we are? Okay, then be great. Do your best to make sure everyone is equal. Do your best to make sure that religion is not discriminated against nor forced upon anyone. Do the best that you can to make sure that the press is free, but also make sure the press is honest and fair. Because the press should be honest and fair too. News should be fair. If you're going to claim to be the news and telling people stuff, make sure it's close to the truth. Make sure it's honest and fair and it has integrity. I don't want my news from the Inquirer. I don't want embellishments in my news. I want, this is what happened, this is what we think, and let's have an honest discussion about it. Let's find out what really happened. We need to be able to hold these truths to be self-evident. That means we need to make sure that our truth is really the fucking truth and not just what you think or what you believe or what you were taught or how you feel. We want to find the truth. And like I said, people for years and years and years and generations thought it was the truth that black people were inferior. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's what them Confederates used to say back. That's a fact. Like you guys are talking about your facts now, deplorables. That's how they say, well, it's a fact that black people are inferior. It's a fact that a woman came from my rib and she's inferior too. She should do what I tell her. And God damn it, if I want to pimp her out, I will. Those were facts back then. Well, we figured out different. There was a time when it was a fact that the earth was flat. That was a fact. How dare you say the earth ain't flat? I'll be goddamned if I don't keep sailing in one direction. I'll just fall right the fuck off of this motherfucker. You watch and see if I don't. That was a fact. And you will be declared a heretic if you say any different. And we will torture you and put you to death for even fucking uttering the words that the world's not flat no more. Or how dare you ever say that the earth's not the center of the universe? We ain't revolving around no sun. The sun revolves around us. Because we're that fucking important. Those were facts back then. And they sound pretty much, that is how your facts nowadays pretty much sound to me now. That absurd. And quite frankly, that's just how I feel about it. But see, the difference between how I feel and my opinion is that I can back these things up, which I'm doing right now. See, I'm building you a foundation for your fuck up. I'm trying to help you come to terms with the fact that you're ignorant. And in some ways, you're stupid when it comes to politics and America. And sociology and physiology and psychology, and you just really know what you need to know because you're conservative minded. You don't care about anything else. You care about what you need to know and what you know, and that just makes you feel happy and safe and secure. Good for you. But you can't make everybody else be like that. Okay? The world needs to keep spinning, whether you're happy or not. And frankly, we can't hold ourselves back for you guys for very much longer when it comes to a lot of these things because, hey, guess what? A black man was already in the White House, and guess what? More are going to come. And I know you didn't want that woman to follow him, but there are going to be women in the White House, whether your conservative old ass likes it or not. or conservative young ass. I don't know how old you are. But if you're conservative minded and you believe that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton weren't eminently qualified to do that job, probably Hillary, she was the big, and don't get me wrong, I'm no Hillary fan, never have been. But you can't honestly with a straight face sit and tell me that that woman wasn't probably more qualified than any human being that's ever walked the face of this planet to do that job. She had more credentials. She built a political powerhouse of credentials to have that job. No other person had. The only way she had to see, that's the thing. She had to work so much extra hard to establish herself for that job that she did it so well. She did it better than any man ever did. List what that woman has done. She has held every conceivable spot that you really could hold on your way up to be president. She started off as the first fucking lady, for fuck's sakes. She has more presidential credentials than any human being that's ever walked the face of the planet, and that's fact. That can be backed up pretty quickly. So the fact that you even thought that punk ass stupid piece of shit could have done that job better than her, it just shows you that you're a misogynist. You just don't like the idea of a woman being in power, especially after a black man was just in power, because you didn't like that either, did you? And it's that simple. It really is. This whole last 4 or 5 years, especially, don't get me wrong, it started, and I can tie it to Obama's 8 years too. But let's talk about the real crust of the problem here. The last 4 or 5 years when the deplorables were in charge. That's what it came down to, is you would rather have a stupid punk ass rich white boy in charge than a woman. Especially after you just had to tolerate old Blackie in the White House, right? Just tell the truth. Be honest about it. Because you owe it to America to be honest about it. Because we got to get over this shit, you see. We got to get over your stupid shit. Because you want to talk about how we don't take care of this. Obama tried to take care of people. He tried to make sure everyone had health care. Everyone. That includes veterans. That includes old people. That includes everyone. That includes your fucking ass that works at the coal mine and gets better insurance than everybody else because you get to make money off of raping the land. So that's the least we can do is give you good insurance, right? You get to rape the land in order to make all your money and have good insurance while everybody else suffers. But we'll take care of you with the health care too, and you won't have that big extra burden. I spend $7,432 a year on health care, and I'm tired of paying for everybody. Well, we'll make sure that you get a good rate too, buddy. You fucking dumbass. Working for the man to destroy our environment, and then you got the balls to deny other people health care in this country? Fuck you. That's what I think. That's how I feel. And the difference is I can back it up. I can tell you how I came to these conclusions. Facts. You're a hypocrite. You're self-righteous. You think everybody needs to be a coal miner to get health care? You think everybody needs to work for the state to get good health care? Talk about fucking communist. Think I need to go get a job at the prison so my son can have good health care? Is that what you think is good for America? I gotta go become a state worker to get good health care, huh? That's about a fucking communist notion if I ever heard one. I gotta go rape the land to get good health care, huh? Fuck you. Fuck you. That's how I feel. Now, we'll need to calm down a little bit. Let's bring it back down for 20 minutes here at the end of the Loonie Liberal Power Hour with your host, Lance Richards. This is a YouTube edition because, like I said, I'm back in the Facebook penitentiary. Attica, Attica, Attica. Just a bunch of horse shit. But I understand because these right-wing conservatives are spewing so much horse shit, so much bad news, just so much shit that ain't even true, off the wall, out of this world conspiracy theories that they pretend is true. So we got to filter that shit out. Plus, they're assholes and they bully people and tell everybody they're going to kill them and shoot them and call them all kinds of crazy names. So you got to filter that shit too, because Facebook's getting in trouble for all that. So people like me get caught in the web. I'm cool. That's good. I can live with that. I'll take my punishment like a man, but I ain't got to be happy about it. I ain't happy that these guys have tried to beat everyone else down and submit to what they believe for 4 or 5 years, and I'm not allowed to fight back against that. That I'm not allowed to bully the bully. You won't let me bully the bully. Okay, that's fine. Cool. I wish you would consider circumstances with these filters. I really wish that you would give me my own reviewer, Facebook. I deserve my own reviewer. I mean, I think people need to start to take into consideration what's going on and why I'm saying what I'm saying. And you'll see that they got it coming. That I'm only giving them back their own medicine, that I'm only bullying the bully. That's what I do. Because I'm a righteous keyboard warrior for Jesus. I've got medals to prove it and everything. Yeah, I needed to do this. Just simply because I had time. The stars aligned. And I was going to do it on Facebook until I got kicked off last night. For nothing. I mean, it was nothing. Because I was going back and forth with all these deplorables in Graham Allen's page, because he's been my arch nemesis since Trump fell off the face of the planet, which I like. So I keyed on Mr. Graham Allen because he's pretty much Trump 2.0. So, only he's not stupid. He's not stupid like Trump, but he's pretty much Trump 2.0. So I was back and forth with the people on his page, and one of them said, everybody's laughing at you. I said, well, that's good. You deplorables probably need some good laughter now that you've lost your dictator. You're welcome. That's what I got kicked off for bullying her. I'm just telling the truth. I think you guys do seem pretty miserable now that you've lost your dictator. I'm just trying to help by providing you some laughter. I mean, you're really just laughing at yourselves because you're really the butt of the joke. I'm not the joke. The joke is you. I had one that always does, telling me to get off the meth. So you're going to accuse me of illegal activity to discredit me. Okay. It's not like that hasn't happened before. You would be surprised at some of the things the deplorables have said to me. And I mean, I have had some pretty low down, dirty affairs with deplorables. Because that's where they want to go. They want to go low, so I can go low too. So, yeah, I have been low, down dirty. And I only dish out what I take. So, of course, I'm getting tripped up by their minds now in Facebook. The community standards have to be more strict now because of stupid conspiracy theories and overbearing, conservative minded Christian nationalist Nazi Americans that want to impose all their beliefs on everyone else and then pretend everyone else is trying to impose beliefs on them. You're allowed to be a Christian. You just can't make everybody else Christian, buddy. You're allowed to bow to the flag and do whatever you want. You just can't make everybody else do it. You're allowed to have a wife that's barefoot and pregnant. You go out and earn the wages. That's fine. You can't make everybody else heterosexual in this country. You have to give heterosexuals the same rights and privileges as you. They are equal to you, whether you like it or not. Whether you like what they do in the bedroom or not, it doesn't matter. Keep that to yourself, because we don't give a shit if you like it or not. And they definitely don't give a shit if you like it or not, because they do like it. And that's that. Plain and simple. You're allowed to be an uptight, conservative Christian, probably only do the missionary position. That's fine. That's your prerogative. But you can't make everybody else be like you in this country. See, because you live in America. You see, you cannot impose. You want to talk about these Muslims being dicks. You're doing the same thing them Muslims do to people when they impose all these rules and make their women wear masks, and that's overbearing conservative religion. And that's what you're doing. You see, that's exactly what you're doing. You're a Christian terrorist. You're a Christian domestic terrorist. You're trying to make everybody else Christian like you. And you can't do it. Not allowed. Not in this country. You're allowed to do whatever you want with the press. You want to yell at them, tell them they suck, that's fine. But you also have to be beholden to the truth. If what you are spewing can be proven wrong, then you have to eventually admit that it's wrong. You have to make way for the truth. Sorry, but that's basically what the press, the freedom of the press, is for. To find the truth, to make sure that everything is accessible. All information and knowledge needs to be accessible. But you also need to be able to say when that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And why and how that's bullshit. So that's another delicate situation that we're going to have to be more diligent about as good Americans. Because we have to make sure that the press is righteous while still allowing them their freedom. It's tough. You have to make sure that we can question authority, petition the government, protest against the government. See, there's another thing. You can't make him bow to the flag because he has every right to protest that flag and stand up and say, hey, that flag's not being righteous towards me. And guess what? I'm an American too, and I deserve to be equal, to be treated equally, to have the same opportunity. That's what makes America great. That's what's always made America great. America never needed to be made great again. It just needed to be kept great. Keep trying to get greater, not trying to go in reverse. And that's what the deplorables have been trying to do. That's why Hillary called them deplorable. It really is simple if you can see the big picture, if you can see from all perspectives instead of just your perspective. If you can be fair and honest to yourself and to others, it really is simple. Do good things. Try to live by the righteous ideals that our forefathers did set down for us in the Constitution. They are very righteous ideals. And it starts with the words, in order to form a more perfect union. We do hereby establish this Constitution. We also say that all men are created equal, which has become all people are created equal, endowed with God-given rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Everybody has these: life, liberty, and to pursue happiness within reason. Like I said, if it makes you happy to kill people, you can't do that, but within reason. And we need to make it equal. We need to make sure that everybody's getting what they need to thrive and to survive. And we're not. We haven't. But we keep trying to get better at it. That's what we do. It's in the Constitution, motherfucker. Pay attention. Furthermore, the First Amendment, the very, very First Amendment in the Constitution, the very first phrase in the Constitution: we cannot establish nor discriminate any religion. That means you can't make an American religion and you can't discriminate against any religion. That gives me freedom of and from religion. Religion can't beat me down. It can't make me do anything. You can't make me do anything. You can't make me do anything because it's Christian. It's the Christian way. You can't say America is a Christian nation, because it's not. America holds no religion, but America allows all religion. That's what makes it great. The very first fucking phrase in the very first fucking amendment to that great, great piece of paper that you say you love. We can't establish and we can't discriminate against religion. Period. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but you can't make nobody else fucking believe it. Period. It's very important. That's why it's the first phrase in the first fucking amendment. Second one: freedom of the press shall not be infringed. You can't fuck with the press. I mean, you can make it honest. We want it to be honest. We want it to be fair. We want to find the truth. Remember, look back. We hold these truths to be self-evident. We're about the truth. We want the truth to be self-evident. And we want to keep building on these truths, right? Towards perfection. The second truth, fact, in America is that the press has the right. Yeah, they have the right to spew bullshit, but I have the right to say it's bullshit. That's how it works in America. And when I can establish what's bullshit and why it's bullshit, then it must be left to the side so we can find truth. You can't keep trying to pound the bullshit in everybody's head. You have to move on to what's true or more true. That's the second truth, fact that we hold to be self-evident. The next one is the freedom to assemble and to petition. These ones come together. We're allowed to get together and talk about these things. We're allowed to form an opinion. We're allowed to even question our authority. We're allowed to petition the government and say, hey, this is fucking wrong and we want it fixed. And we have the right to be heard. We have a right to a trial. We have a right to have people really hold this country accountable. That's our right in the First fucking Amendment. But we have to be righteous in that endeavor. We have to make sure we're being fair and honest in that endeavor. I know this stuff is hard, guys. It's hard to be fair sometimes. It's hard to be honest. I understand. But we must suck it up for America and do so. All of these things that follow is our evolution towards truth. I mean, we gave black people the right to vote and some autonomy in there. We gave women the right to vote and some autonomy. We fucked around with alcohol a little bit. You know, we had all these battles to build on our truth. And that's what the Constitution is. And you're trying to dial this shit back. You're trying to fuck with it and cloud truth so you can dial it back again. You don't want Obama in the White House, do you? You don't want a woman in the White House, do you? You don't want women to have autonomy. You want to go back to a world where white male Christian conservatives rule the roost. And that's understandable. I understand why you want that to be, but it's not anymore. It can't be anymore. We must evolve. We must progress. We must build on the truth that we have found. There is a woman out there that was more qualified to be the president than any human being who has ever walked the face of the earth. There was a black man that came out of nowhere and did great things for this country, whether you want to fucking believe it or not. A great, great black president we had. Whether you like it or not, it happened. These things happened. And they will continue to happen. Black people will continue to thrive in this country, as will women, as will homosexuals, as will transgenders, as will Muslims, as will Americans. And if we can do anything about it, we hope everybody on the face of the planet someday. Because that's what we're about. Helping people. We're here to empower people. America is about we, the people. Those are facts. I just spewed you almost an hour of fucking facts. Verifiable. You can back them up. They're right there in black and white. Go back through, check it out. Tell me if you see any holes, because I definitely would like to fill the holes if you have the brain to do so. But if you like Trump, odds are you don't have the brain to do so. So I suggest you listen to my very righteous hour, Loonie Liberal Power Hour, with your host Lance Richards. This is the YouTube edition because I have yet again been unceremoniously cut away from Facebook through no fault of my own, except for the fact that I like to bully bullies, and I'm a righteous keyboard warrior for Jesus, and all kinds of other credentials I've long forgotten. I've been through the mill for Jesus on Facebook for the last couple years. I ain't gonna lie. At great personal expense. My reputation is shot. But hey, man, whatever, man's got to do what a man's got to do. And I had to do it. And I'll continue to do it. But that's been my hour. Thank you, YouTube, for your time. I may see you again. I don't know. Never can tell. But don't hold your breath. Fairly righteous man out.